To the Squirrel Tail. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the pros, cons, and best ways to use technology for the muzzleloader community. And also touch on the topics of faith and the Christmas tradition. A few things I want to say. This video is just me talking, so feel free to just have it playing in the background. I do that a lot. I'll just be listening to something. And also, this is not my usual content of me shooting and working on old guns and other things. My personal opinion on social media and my religious beliefs will be present here, just so you are aware. That being said, if you like this kind of content, please be sure to hit that like button. The amount of positive feedback I get will determine if I do more like it. That being said, I am recording this on Christmas, so I want to remind you the reason for the season. Luke chapter 2, verse 11 says, "For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord." Very important during Christmas and always to be reminded of this. Now, something I've been pondering is how we keep the tradition in the tech era alive. And by the tech era, I mean cell phones, social media, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. The muzzleloader community is a very traditional community. In many ways, the purpose of the muzzleloader is keeping the tradition alive of these old firearms, of early American history, things like that. But now with technologies, in some way it threatens the tradition. Some of the negative issues with technology in regards to this community is it can be very addictive. Facebook Reels and YouTube Shorts are and similar content to that are things that I personally struggle with. Very easy to be browsing through Facebook, see one video I like, and then get sucked into watching like 10 of them. The other big issue is the negative content out there, especially with politics. Not going down that rabbit hole, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And I also worry the effect it's going to have on in-person socialization. I consider myself lucky. I was born when I was. I did not have internet till I was 11 and did not have a smartphone till I was 20. People younger than me, I worry, will not know how to socialize without using these devices or entertain themselves without using these devices. Can they actually go outside and play? Maybe I'm overthinking, but that's something that concerns me. I feel that the instant effect of satisfaction, how quickly tech can satisfy you. Everything's instant now. You want to watch a video, you don't have to put a DVD in, you just hit a button. Or you want something, Amazon brings it to you in 2 days. This instant satisfaction, I worry that it will make people less patient. No one wants to actually work to get something. And patience is something that is very necessary for this hobby. That is a short version. Most people know that there are a lot of negative things involved by social media. Now on to the positive effects. I feel that there is many positive effects that tech can actually have on the muzzleloader hobby. If you are listening to this, you are a user of social media. I feel it used to be that if you did not know someone in the hobby, you would not have gotten involved in it. I know that if I did not have my father and grandfather, it would be very unlikely that I would be doing this channel right now. But now you have people who are getting involved because of YouTube and Facebook. They're seeing cool things on these platforms and they want to do it. It is a great place to get information. YouTube channels like mine and Ethan's I Love Muzzleloaders and many others have a lot of how-to videos on the hobby. When I started this hobby, which would have been when I was 12, so like 16 years ago, 15 years ago, something like that, there's very little content on YouTube. You pretty much need to go to events and talk to people and get books. Both those are great. Books are amazing, and I don't think YouTube is a substitute for them, or a substitute for talking to people at events. But books do get expensive. I don't think it would be hard to spend $1,000 on books on the topic of muzzlers. And by no means am I saying that's what people spend, but it would be doable. I was fortunate to have many books given to me. I got some of them for Christmas gifts through the years. I got some of them from Nate McKenzie. So I was able to accumulate a large collection, and I'm going to have those books kind of show you them in my book review series. I'll be doing more of them. The other advantage of YouTube is that you can get multiple perspectives. What works for one person might not work for you. I always say everyone's hand's different. Everyone's eyes are different. What tools you have might be different. Take powder horns, for an example, if you want to get into making them. If you want to do this, I would recommend buying Scott Sibley's book, Recreating the American Powder Horn, and reading it. Before you even buy the horn, buy any tools, that would be the first purchase. And I'm going to be doing a review on that book here soon. But say you're looking through the book, and maybe their method isn't working. It's a good method, but it might not be working for you. It might be worth to watch my video, or maybe watch one of Ethan's at I Love Muzzleloading's video. We might do it slightly different, and that way might work better for you, or vice versa. Maybe my method, when you watch my video, doesn't work for you, but the method in the book works for you. The more perspectives you have, the better off you are. The con of this is there's some bad information on the internet. I imagine you know that. You can't believe everything you read online. But there is also bad books. An expression that I heard someone say that I always liked, writing a book doesn't make you an expert. Writing a book makes you an author. Making a YouTube video doesn't make you an expert. Making a YouTube video makes you a YouTuber. Always keep that in mind. But there's plenty of good information on there. And, the more you have, the more likely you will find something that works for you. And keeping on the topic of books, the internet is a great place to get books. I mean, that's one thing, having access to the books. Now, I myself prefer purchasing the books in person, mainly at Dixon's shop in Kempton or at the Kempton Gunmakers Fair. It used to be at Dixon's, now it's separated, but you can watch my video on the show if you want to know details on that. But to actually sit down and look through the book, that's my preferred way to do it. But if there's a book you want, and one of these events or stores is not near you, it's very easy to order it online. Places like Track and Wolf, Dixie Gunworks, and probably Amazon even have plenty of books on the topic. And the other thing is, in relation to events, is if it's a great place to learn about events. Again, that used to be something I feel the events used to kind of go around word of mouth, or if you're part of the NMLRA, it would be in their magazines, things like that. But now, most of your big events will be all over Facebook, all over the internet. And also, YouTubers are going to review previous events. So, like right now, you can go on and watch my video on the Kempton Gunmakers Fair. This is a good way to get a feel for what the event is and if it's something you want to go to. And when it comes to the Kempton's Gunmakers Fair, it's definitely worth going to. Just putting that out there. But yeah, you can kind of review the event on your own. Another point I'll make on the positive effects of technology is that I'm a firm believer that no amount of YouTube videos, articles, or books will get you to the level that working with someone that has more experience than you. You know, having someone who knows what they're doing to actually work with, whether it's shooting muzzleloaders or building them or building horns, having someone to physically work with is great. I was fortunate to have a grandfather who was in the hobby, and he helped me out some. And my father also was involved. He showed me the initial basics. And then later on, I met Nate McKenzie, and he mentored me on building muzzleloaders. Social media is a place, too, that you might be able to find a mentor. You know, maybe the person, say you have an issue and you post a picture on my Primitive Muzzlers Facebook page. The person who's commenting, for all you know, they live 10 minutes away. And now, so maybe you could get a hold of them, take that piece to them, they can look at it in person and give you solid advice by looking at it, because pictures only go so far than actually having it in your hand. You know, in-person instruction beats, you know, trying to figure it out on YouTube and other forums and things like that any day, or even books. If you can talk to someone who knows what they're doing, that is the best solution to learn. So, now it probably seems with that I listed way more positive things than negative, but I'll warn you, using tech for negative is easier than for positive. Technology is very good at giving you a quick boost of happiness. Things like getting likes on a Facebook post. You know, with little work. But this is only short-term boost. It's not permanent compared to, say, the satisfaction you get of building a muzzleloader. You know, that happiness is something, that satisfaction of accomplishing that feels a lot better than, say, getting 20 likes on a picture. You know, so if you want to use social media to have an impact on your life, you still need to put in work. Now, I want to be clear. Sometimes the brain needs relax. There's times when you are mentally fried and physically fried, you know, maybe after a long day of work, that you need to zone out. You know, so something watching silly or strictly for entertainment is fine. I'll admit, my go-to on this, if I need to forget about the world for a little while, is Star Wars. I'll watch something Star Wars related, and that'll be my, you know, escape. But it's important to not become addicted to it. I find it helpful myself to set alarms to limit the time I spend on these things. But by a caveat here, realize that everyone's mental state and physical needs are different. Just because you only need 5 minutes to relax, there's someone might need an hour based on their physical and mental health. And we need to not judge this. You know, everyone's needs are different. But I also think that when interacting with people online, you need to figure out if someone is actually interested in learning or just wants to argue. This would be like on the comment section on like a post. Someone might be commenting on your post, strictly because they want to fight with you. They have no interest in learning. They just want to argue. This is a lot worse when dealing with politics, but again, not going there. Some people get a high off online drama. Don't waste your time with these people. But if someone, has a question about a muzzler, it's a genuine question or anything, be sure to, if you have the answer, give your best answer. Don't judge, don't make fun of people, don't add negativity to the conversation. We all start as beginners. And being negative with someone, even if they are being negative first, all it does is create a circle of negativity. Avoid that. If you don't have something positive to say, don't say it at all. When dealing with other people. And last, I want to be clear, one of the worst things I see online is people gatekeeping. Okay, oh yeah, this person only has a kit gun. They're not a real muzzleloader enthusiast because, it's a CVA kit gun, not the muzzleloader that I built out of a hand-forged barrel and did everything myself. That kind of thought, that kind of negativity brings about nothing positive, only negative. So, again, avoid gatekeeping. Now, my next thing I want to discuss is I've been, as of now, mainly talking about muzzleloading. I do feel this conversation can apply to any part of your life on how you deal with tech, but I was mainly focused on how it interacts with the muzzleloader community. But I want to take a minute to talk about how it affects faith and the Christmas tradition. Again, faith and Christmas are both things that are rooted in tradition. I mean, the Christian belief is a 2,000-year-old tradition. People have been celebrating Christmas for 2,000 years, celebrating the life of Christ for 2,000 years. So, that's very obviously a very traditional thing. So, how does tech affect these traditions? It, again, can both enhance or it can unenhance, make it worse, make it bad. One of the ways it can make it bad when it comes to tradition, I feel, is people being on social media when they're supposed to be visiting with family meals, stuff like that. I'm guilty of this myself, where I've been browsing my phone at family meals. I think, and I'm now going to do this, I'm turning my phone off during a family meal. But on the other hand, the ability to video chat with friends and families that can't make it, and truthfully, is a wonderful tool. And also sharing memories, photos, things like that is great, Being able to share the video of your nephew opening his gift is really a neat thing to, send it to his aunt and uncles and other family. Now, when it comes to faith, the internet is full of sinful things. I imagine if you spend any time on the internet, it is full of a lot of that stuff. And I'm not talking about just like X-rated content. It can be people doing stupid stuff at a bar, all this other stuff. People doing inappropriate dancing even though they're fully clothed. It can be very easy to get caught up on the ways of the world, the sinful ways of the world on the internet. But on the positive side, the Bible is never more accessible. With your phone, there's free apps that you can get the Bible. They're free, you can download them. And now everywhere you go, you have a copy of the Bible. This, came in real handy for me on my Israel trip, When I went to Israel, pretty much was living out of a backpack, so every little nook and cranny was valuable space. A Bible's a big book, it would have taken up a lot. But because I had my phone, I was already carrying it with me, so when I went to the empty tomb, I was able to read the Easter story while being at location, which was truthfully a wonderful experience. And another thing that I like about technology, or, cell phones when it comes to this, is Audible Bibles. You can get Audible books, Bibles. I actually have one that's read by James Earl Jones. And that gives you the ability to listen to the Bible while you're doing other things. So, driving, on your way to work, you can hook it up to your speakers and listen to it instead of music, or mowing the grass, sanding your muzzleloader stock, whatever. You can be listening to Scripture and studying Scripture a lot more. With the Audible Bible, I went from barely reading the Bible to listening to it about an hour a day, which is my goal. And also there's plenty of prayer apps, things like that, daily prayer apps that can help discipline you in praying on a regular basis. And another great thing that I think that technology brings to the table is church services are now online. Now I want to caution you. There is online church and in-person church, in my opinion, are not the same. There's something truthfully wonderful about being in the same building of other believers and having the music be live and being together and worshiping. It's truthfully an important experience that as Christians, we need that on a regular basis. But unfortunately, we do get sick, we do get bad weather, and we do have things that come up in life that make it where we can't make it every single time. We don't want to go to church when we have the flu because we don't want to get other people sick. COVID was a huge example of this, because for a while church only existed online. But you miss a week. It used to be you would pretty much miss. There wasn't a good way to get caught up, and that could be if they were doing a series, like say the church was going through a particular book of the Bible, you might miss that section. But now that it's online, you can view it online and stay up to date so you're not missing weeks. You'll at least know the next week when you go back, what's going on. And another thing where it can be kind of neat is it makes it easier to possibly attend, not technically attend, but listen to multiple churches. So when I was with my girlfriend, I was going to her church, and I was listening to my home church online. Now we've split up, not going there, but I now instead listen to her church online because the pastor was a good preacher, and I enjoyed listening to that service. So now I'm getting 2 messages a week. So again, it enhances my experience as a Christian. So that's something that can be very useful. So, in conclusion, technology is not going anywhere. You can say, I'm not getting a cell phone, or, I'm going to get rid of all my social media. It's here to stay, one way or the other. But if the muzzleloader and Christian community is to survive, we must adapt to it by using it correctly. That's the key, using it correctly. If you have a large set of skills, I want to encourage you to start making content, being YouTube videos or even Facebook articles. It's not that hard to do. I was never an expert on computers or anything like that, but I'm able to figure out to make decent YouTube videos. I'll also say that if you see someone on social media asking a question and they need a mentor and are local to you, using the caution of meeting people in person from the online, that's another topic. So do it safely, but if you can mentor that person in person, do what Nate McKenzie did to me, that experience for them will be great, and now we'll have more experts in the community, which is a very positive thing. Um, you know, are we using, and the last thing, I guess, and the most important is, how are you personally using technology? You got to ask yourself that question. Are you using it to a positive manner? Again, it can be a tool for relaxation. And, just because you're watching something that doesn't technically have value on your life, it might be the value is letting you zone out and getting your mind back to normal so you can get back to work. But, are you spending too much time on silly things, silly skits, things like that? And is it preventing you from spending time with your family or getting that powder horn done? That's, or whatever your project is being. Are you spending 3 hours watching TikTok videos and then, oh, I'll watch the shop the next day and then repeating it? Go out to the shop the next day and then repeating it. Are you doing that? Maybe if that's the case, maybe you need to set an alarm and say, okay, I get home from work, I'll watch YouTube for 10 minutes, and then I'll go out to the shop and set an alarm. It's end of the day, it's going to come down to personal discipline. And when it comes to faith on social media, ask yourself, if Jesus walked behind you and seen what you were watching, how would you feel? If you feel you'd be embarrassed, click off it. Again, it might be hard to do, but, ask yourself that question. You always say, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus want you to be watching? I don't think Jesus would want you watching a girl dressed in a bikini dancing at a bar. And obviously, like hardcore X-rated content, that wouldn't be something Jesus would want you to be watching. You gotta ask yourselves, is this something that I should be watching if you're calling yourself a Christian, is this something I should be watching? Now, I want to be clear, this video is not meant to judge everyone. How I use my cell phone is something I struggle with. I can find myself on Facebook too much. I can find myself on YouTube Shorts too much. I do, so yeah, I'm not judging anyone. That is one of my New Year's resolutions, is to try to better handle how I'm personally using social media. And the other thing I want to bring up is I think we need to be I think those who are parents and those who have kids, I feel how they introduce them to social media and technology is something that they have to be very careful with. I'm not a parent. I have nieces and nephews, but, I am not an expert on this topic. But if you have young ones, I think you really need to do a lot of praying and a lot of research on the best way to introduce them to social media, because they're going to be exposed to it, and teach them to use it in the correct manner. And I think parents these days are in for a real challenge. But on the positive side, I feel as if we use technology correctly, we can grow both the muzzleloader community and the Christian community. But we have to play our cards right and make sure we are using it the right way and not for the wrong way. And again, I hate to say it, but a lot of it comes down to personal discipline. So I would like to hear from you guys now. In the comments, tell me what you think. Do I make sense? Am I making good points? Or am I full of hot air? Or did I just waste several minutes of your life? I want to know that in the comments. And I want to thank you for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe if you like my content. And I hope you had an amazing Christmas season, and God bless.